Hi, this is Nicole Cervantes, and I'm going to be presenting on my Beginning Music Teachers article. From the JMTE, I decided to read about common problems of the new music teacher, and this was written by Jana Fallon as well as David Royce. So a little bit about the first year, I decided to start with this quote from Fallon and Royce. It says, "The first year of teaching is an exciting and often exhausting time. The beginning teacher is busy translating years of acquired music skills and knowledge into a teaching style. Unfortunately, the excitement of establishing a classroom and receiving that first paycheck is often offset by typical teaching frustrations." And then they included this statistic, which I'm sure many of us have heard before. However, it is still alarming each time I hear it. This statistic is that 40 to 50% of beginning teachers leave the profession during the first 7 years of teaching, and that most of those teachers are leaving within the first 4 years. So that is almost half of the beginning teachers that are leaving, which is pretty crazy. And then in this article, they also are saying that there are a lot of qualifications to go through and things within the undergraduate that are difficult to do. So it is alarming that many of the teachers, once they get into teaching, although they are extremely qualified, they are leaving the profession. So a little bit about the study that Fallon and Royce did. They studied some beginning music teachers. There were some music teachers in general music, middle school and high school band, as well as secondary choral teachers. There were 7 teachers altogether, and they lived in urban as well as rural areas. Each teacher actually welcomed the feedback in looking at problem areas. They mentioned that the only feedback they were receiving at that time was from the principal, who wasn't really, didn't have high knowledge in music, so they were actually really excited to receive this feedback from people that understood music and teaching music. And for this study, they were observed and videotaped, specifically looking at their most problematic classes. So as Fallon and Royce were studying these teachers, they found these common problems that were common between lots of these teachers. And these problem areas were pacing, transitions, classroom organization and management, selection of appropriate music or activities, and then the hierarchy of problem solving. And then Fallon and Royce, they included their solutions and suggestions to these problems that they saw within beginning music teachers. So to combat the pacing problem, for the pacing problem, they gave this example that there was actually a teacher who spent about 15 minutes just talking about a program within the school to attend. However, those 15 minutes, that was far too much time, and within that time, they actually completely lost the students' attention. So what they offer as a suggestion for pacing is to watch the amount of time devoted to each activity and have a variety of activities planned and reduce talking time. I think that is difficult for a lot of beginning teachers, is to reduce talking time. However, it is important to the pacing. The next problem was within transitions. So what they offered as a solution for this was to answer students' questions concisely, rather than completely switching the subject and kind of losing the students within that. Still keep them focused on the lesson, and just answer any off-topic questions concise but quick. And stick to the lesson plans. They said that flexibility will come later on, but as a beginning teacher, you can just stick with the lesson plans. Another problem was organization and management, and for this they suggested to stay close to the students for control and keep the classroom organized. So that'll look different for each classroom, but there should be systems in place to make sure students as well as the teacher are organized. And then the next problem was selecting appropriately. And they suggested to choose music that will allow the students to develop musically without too much complexity for their level. So a lot of the issues that beginning music teachers had was that they were giving too difficult pieces for the level that the students were at. And then the last problem is problem-solving hierarchy. And they suggested to focus on fundamentals of music before dynamics and phrasing. So for instance, beginning teachers were letting tone fall because there was too many issues, so they would look into dynamics rather than the tone, but saying to focus on the fundamentals before you go into the more complex things such as dynamics and phrasing. And finally, I wanted to end with this quote from them. They said, "The most important skill for a young teacher to pursue is the art of open inquiry and self-improvement."